to continue from where I left off on yesterday. Do 5 minutes, and then maybe I'll do a second 5 minutes of reading Where the Red Fern Grows. So on page 69, if you have a hardcover copy, volume 1. The last thing I heard as I left the house was the voice of my mother. Be careful, Billy, she said, and don't stay out late. It was a beautiful night, still and frosty. A big grinning Ozark moon had the countryside bathed in a soft yellow glow. The starlit heaven reminded me of a large blue umbrella outspread and with the handle broken off. Just before I reached the timber, I called my dogs to me. Now the trail will be a little different tonight, I whispered. It won't hide a it won't be a hide dragged on the ground. It'll be the real thing. So remember everything I taught you, and I'm depending on you. Just put one up a tree and I'll do the rest. I turned them loose, saying, Go get 'em. They streaked for the timber. By the time I reached the river, every nerve in my body was drawn up as tight as a fiddle string. Big eyed and with ears open, I walked on, stopping now and then to listen. The way I was slipping along, anyone would have thought I was trying to slip up on a coon myself. I had never seen a night so peaceful and still. All around me, tall sycamores gleamed like white streamers in the moonlight. A prowling skunk came wobbling up the riverbank. He stopped when he saw me. I smiled at the foxfire glow of his small, beady red eyes. He turned and disappeared in the underbrush. I heard a sharp snap and a feathery rustle in some brush close by. A small rodent started squealing in agony. A nighthawk had found his supper. Across the river and from far back in the rugged mountains, I heard the baying of a hound. I wondered if it was the same one I had heard from my window those nights so long ago. Though my eyes were seeing the wonders of the night, my ears were ever alert, listening for the sound of my hounds telling me they had found a trail. I was expecting one of them to bawl, but when it came, it startled me. The deep tones of old Dane's voice jarred the silence around me. I dropped my axe and almost dropped my lantern. A strange feeling came over me. I took a deep breath and threw back my head to give the call of the hunter, but something went wrong. My throat felt like it had been tied in a knot. I swallowed a couple of times and the knot disappeared. As loud as I could, I whooped, "Whoo-wee! Get him, Dan, get him." Little Ann came in. The bell-like tones of her voice made shivers run up and down my spine. I whooped to her. Whoo-wee! Tell it to him, little girl, tell it to him. This was what I had prayed for, worked, and sweated for, my own little hounds bawling on the trail of a river coon. I don't know why I cried, but I did. While the tears rolled, I whooped again and again. Why do you think Billy was crying, boys and girls? That's the question I ask you. Why was Billy crying? They straightened the trail out, and headed down the river. I took off after them as fast as I could run. A mile downstream, the raccoon pulled his first trick. I could tell my dogs' voices that they had lost the trail. When I came to them, they were out on an old drift, sniffing around. The raccoon had pulled a simple trick. He had run up on the drift, leaped into the water, and crossed the river. To an experienced raccoon hound, the crude trick would have been nothing at all, but my dogs were just big, awkward pups trailing their first live raccoon. I stood and watched, wondering if they would remember the training I had given them. Now and then I would whoop, urging them on. Old Dan was having a fit. He whined and bawled. He whimpered and cried. He came to me and reared on, begging for help. I'm not going to help you, I scolded, and you're not going to find him out on that drift. If you would just remember some of the training I gave you, you could find the trail. Now go and find that raccoon. He ran back on the drift and started searching. Little Ann came to see me. I could see the pleading in her warm gray eyes. I'm ashamed of you, little girl, I said. I thought you had more sense than this. If you let him fool you this easily, you'll never be a coon dog. She whined, turned, and trotted downstream to search again for the lost trail.